minutes late today. So the first thing we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is wait for a little while, see if anybody else shows up. And then we're going to make a really simple ring to start out with. And then we're going to get into our book, the wire workbook here I was showing you. And then we're going to see if we can make this particular ring. I haven't made a fancy ring like this before, but this one looks really cool, so I want to give it a try. So, Beth, hi Beth, had requested rings last week, so that's what we're going to do today. Like I said, we're going to start with a really simple one that anybody and their brother could make. Anyway, I think so. And then we're going to work on that really fancy ring. Like I said, I've never made one like that. It's going to be a trick for me as much as anybody. And so I'm looking forward to it. It looks really cool. I might really like that. Now, simple rings are one of those things that during my shows, if it's really slow and I don't have anything else going on, I might make a simple ring just because it really doesn't take me long. I can set it aside, and I can work on them whenever. One of the main things you're going to need to make rings is a ring mandrel. This is a ring mandrel. You can see, well, I hope you can see. Yeah, there you go. How they have all those little notches, and then the sizes are wrote right here along the notches there that they have in here. These are actually barely engraved in here so that they don't take up much room. Now this is a steel ring mandrel. They come, this is a big one. This one goes up to a size 15 ring and down to a size 1. So this one's really cool. I like this one. I use it mainly if I'm making rings at home. Now I do have, it might not be here, it might be in the V of my car. Yep, that particular bag is in my car. I do have one that I take traveling. It looks a lot like this size. However, it's black, a really black hard plastic. And so it's quite a bit lighter weight, so it's good for traveling. So yeah. Well, we'll see how it works. Anyway, let's turn down. I'll show you how to make the really simple one, and then we'll get the book out and let it give us instructions on how to make the more difficult one. So here we go. So here we are down in my mat. Again, here's our ring mandrel. I've got 20 gauge non-tarnish soft flex craft wire. I usually use 20 gauge for my rings, especially the simple ones. You can use 22. It works just as well. I just avoid use 20. I think it's a little sturdier and it works really nicely. I suppose you could go up to 18 if you wanted to. I wouldn't. I just don't. 20 is my preferred size. So, now what we need, of course, is a length of wire. And I usually pull out about this much. You know, haven't measured it, so I don't know exactly how much it is here. We'll cut this off and we'll measure it so we can see. I usually just eyeball it and just, you know, like I say, just pull out about that much. So So let's get the ruler out and we'll measure it so we can see about how much it is. It's a pretty good sized piece. It's at least a foot. I think it's probably about 18 inches. No, it's not quite that long. 12. 13, 14, 15, well, 17, so close to 18. So, like I said, I generally just eyeball it. And I don't try to make my rings this particular size unless I'm doing a custom one, mainly because when you're making a ring, you can put it on any spot in your mandrel, and it's going to go down in size about two to three sizes. And another thing is that if you've got a lot of wire left over, the more you wrap around the base of your ring, the smaller it'll get. So let's just find a pearl here. So I think we want a nice pearl ring here. Hey, Angel. So what we want to do is first feed our bead on. Now this is one of those shell pearls from Beadbox Bargains. And I'm going to get it about in the middle. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but relatively close. Since I want a slightly bigger ring, I'm going to start here at like 9.5, and then we're just going to wrap our two sides around like so, and I'm going to wrap this around twice so that I end up with a 4-strand base here. Now, as you can see, my wires are a little bit different in length, and that's fine. And the next thing I'm going to do, because this is going to be a simple ring, is I'm going to take one of these bars and I'm going to wrap it around our pearl and come back to the other side. Come on, all the way. And it's going to try to, see how it just tried to pull up there? It will, don't worry about it. And then just tighten it up. Now you're going to do the same with the other side and just bring it down and around too. And now you can pull it off your mandrel. And this is where you have to be careful because it's going to try and do some stunts on you. So what you want to do is you take your wires here, go around here. And this is why some people prefer a 22 as opposed to a 20, because now is where we're going to have to start feeding our wires around. And we're going to try and keep these relatively even together. And we're going to pull this tight and bring it around. And I'm going to do 2 wraps here so it stays relatively in place before I go over to the other side. Come here, you. Come out. Okay. So there is our 2 wraps here on this side. Now I'm going to go to this side, and I'm again going to hold my wires so they stay relatively close. And we want to take this wire and do the exact same thing and go through here and go up and over and around. Now see how that left a little bit of a spot right there? I'm going to wiggle the pearl so it's more centralized, hopefully. And see, we have a bump here and it's lower here and there. You can work that to see if you can get that out of there if you want, or you can just leave it. It doesn't really matter. As you can see, it's still pretty on top. So now you just wrap these around, and you have a choice now. You can make cut these off after you do a couple of little rounds, or you can keep going down and make it be, and that's going to make your ring smaller, or you can do a little spiral. Now on this side, since this is longer, I'm going to do a few wraps, and then I'm going to make a spiral, and I'm going to bend, and I'm probably going to do it on both sides, but mainly this side because this side's up further. And then I'm going to take my spiral and I'm going to bend it up so that it sits right here. So let's get our round nose out and we'll make a spiral. Now this is that I'm using here is bare copper wire, non-tarnish bare copper wire. So I'm not real worried about marring the wire. But if you were using a colored wire, you'd probably want to use some your nylon jaw pliers as opposed to. So I'm going to bend this up and sit it right here. So it's at the base of this side. So now I could spiral it a little bit more because that length looks a little bit long. So I'm going to just spiral just a teeny bit more and then push it back up into place. Now you can do a spiral on this side, or you can cut it off, or, however you prefer. I like that pushed down into place a little bit better than that is. So. Now, if I had wanted to not spiral it as much, I could have brought it up and stuck it right here beside the pearl too, but I don't really care. Like I said, if you want your ring smaller, this is where you just wrap your wire around the base, and it will take up some of the room that that you've got left there. Push this one up. There we go. Simple, pretty little copper and pearl ring. Now I'm going to put it back on my mandrel and see what size it ended up shrinking down to. As you can see, it's about a little over a 7, but not quite a 7.5. And I've got one of these base wires going underneath, which tells me that one of them got a little bit longer than the others. So we'll play with this, and it will stretch a little bit as you play with it, but not very much. So it's about a size 7.5. If you'll remember, we started up here at like between a 9 and a 10. So very pretty little pearl ring. Now, I don't charge a lot for these rings. This one I probably would charge about $6 to $8, depending on, can't remember how much these pearls are. They're only about 12 cents a piece. So, yeah, it could go for like 6, but I might charge 8 because the way things have going out in price, especially wire, that might be a good price for it, is $8. And like I say, it's a size 7.5. Do you need to work harden it? No, you don't need to work harden it. In fact, if you tried to work harden this, you'd squish it all out of shape. And because you've got it wrapped in such small increments there, it usually is fine. I have fat fingers, so it's not going to fit on me. There we go. So there's our little copper, and because of the fact that it is all wrapped and stuff, if you tried to work harden it, like I said, you'd squish it out of shape. And if you did insist that it needed to be work hardened, you'd have to actually hammer your wire prior to working with it. But the working with it, especially since you're wrapping it around in circles and such, is already hardening it right as you do it. So anyway, there is our simple ring. Pretty simple, not hard to do. And I'll just leave it on my finger. Now we need to see what we need for our fancy ring, since, like I say, I haven't done this particular ring like this before. So let's see what it says we need. It says we need 25 inches of 22 gauge square dead soft wire. I don't know if this is dead soft, but I assume it is. Here's our square. I'm going to use this gold that I got from Randy at Thunderhorse Descendant. In case you're wondering, this is how much it cost me. It's 58 cents a foot. And then it says it needs 24.5 inch of 20 gauge half round. Well, we've got 21 of both, because that was the easiest. That's what we had on hand. I haven't figured this price out. Can really quickly. Oops, that's a pendant I got from Dry Gulch Beads. Got that last year. Haven't tried doing anything with it yet. So at $6.40 for the whole thing, divided by 4. Oops, not times, divided, Rose. Because there's 4 yards. And then we have to divide that by 3 because there's 3 feet in a yard. And it's 54 cents a foot. So because it's asking for 24.5 inches, we'll need 2 feet. Well, we'll call it 2 feet, but we need a little bit more than 2 feet. Then it wants us to have 3 faceted 3mm crystal rounds. Well, I've got some 3mm sunstone that we're going to use. Isn't that pretty? I like sunstone. Okay, it says we need wire cutters for tools, tape. I don't have tape. What I do have instead, if I can find it, I didn't think to get it out, is got all kinds of, oops, here's my water bottle. I've got all, there it is. I have a clamp. This is a wire clamp. You put your wires in there and then squish this down and it holds them in place. Nicer than tape, if I think so. The ring mandrel, smooth graduated steel preferred, which is the one we have. Flat nose pliers, fine chain nose pliers. Hey, look. How much finer can you get than our black pliers? A pin vise and a nylon mallet. Why do we need a nylon mallet? If we needed a nylon mallet, where's our steel block? It doesn't ask for our steel block, but see if I can find my pin twist, since I I didn't expect to need it, so I didn't get it out. Here you. There it is. Okay, but I bet they want us to use it right here in this pretty little spot right here. Oh, you can't see it. Right here. So anyway, it says straighten and clean all necessary wires. Cut the 22 gauge wire into 5 5-inch pieces and the 20 gauge wire into 3 3-inch pieces and 1 3.5-inch piece, and reserve the rest. Bundle the 5 square wires together with 1 flush end and tape near each end. Well, I only have 1 cushion to it thing, I think. So I may need to get some tape after all. Measure and mark the center of the bundle at 2.5 inches using the chart on page 21. Ring sizing chart. Interesting. Well, we'll just make it whatever it turns out being, because I'm not going to try and worry about that. I don't know that I understand that chart that well. Oh, I see. They want us to measure each side of the mark. Can you see this? Let me see. Get my water bottle out of the way. See right this figure here? It says, using the chart, measure and mark to each side of the center mark according to the size you are making, which will be 1 full size larger than the desired finished size. Use 1 3-inch half round wire to wrap from one of these side marks away from the center 4 times to show. Trim just below the edge of the ring bundle. Use the other 3-inch half round wire to repeat this wrap from the other side, keeping away from the center. So it's got the center mark right here, and then over here is our first wrap, and then they're starting the second wrap over here. So we need to cut our wire first. So we want the square wire in 5-inch increments, and the 20 gauge in 3-inch. Well, it says it wants 2 3-inch pieces and 1 3.5, and put the rest away. So we'll need to get our wire out and measure that. Put my ruler inside my... No, we need the ruler to measure, duh. Put something else inside there. Maybe I'll just put my water bottle in there. So we want to take our square wire and cut 5 5-inch pieces. Okay. This takes a bit of wire. Okay, now these are not... Is that flush on that side? No. So I want to make sure we're flush. So I'm going to cut a little bit off. And we want 1 right here. I'm going to put this aside for right now because we need 5 wires. Cut the edge. Now I'm going to just do this by putting them together and then bring it down and cut it right at where the other one is at. So we need 5 of these, it said. Okay, so this is going to be 3. 3. This is a pretty soft wire. See how easily it's bending for me? So I wouldn't be surprised if it's dead soft. So now we're going for 4. And our last one, number 5. Okay, there's our 5-inch pieces of square. Put the rest back in the bag. Put it up here. Now, one of the things it was saying is, well, straighten, so we need to straighten this a little bit more. Now, this is the point where you can get out one of those, either your nylon jaw pliers to help with your straightening, or one of those little, I had it sitting beside me, but I'm not seeing it right now. Those little, with the 3 little, oh, there it is. This is a wire straightener. You just put the wire right inside it and then just pull it up or down. It straightens to a degree, but I think, see how I just crookeded it again here? I think it's better if you just use your... And frankly, a lot of times when I'm straightening, I just use my fingers. So there's 2. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Janice. Hey, Kim. So now we want to get these other ones straightened, and then I think I'll put them in my Oop, sorry, knocked my lamp. One thing about working with wire, you got to, especially if it's a very long piece, it's going to try and grab everything that's near you. That's one of the reasons I rarely do a circlet on a video, because I tend to have to pull away from my workspace right here and work with it in my lap. So my wire isn't grabbing everything anywhere around me. This one looks like it's pretty straight already. But we'll give it a little bit more just to be on the safe side. Okay. See, it's not quite straight even yet, because see how these are curling around each other on this side? And we also are a little bit off as far as the size is concerned. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy here and I'm going to put these guys in it rather than the tape they ask for. I'm going to stick the edges out so I can see where they're at for when I'm measuring things, and then we'll squish that down and it holds pretty good. This is another one of these tools that I got from the same place I got the pin twist, which is wiredjewelry.com. And see, they're not quite even, so I'm going to cut these 2 that are a little longer off. So there's our 5-inch pieces. And it does want me to tape the other side or put it in another one of these cushion pad things. I know I have another one of these, but I'm not sure where it's at. It might be in my travel bag. So we'll just sit that down right now because now we need to get our it doesn't matter whether you call me Rose or Rosanna. Rosanna's my full name, obviously, and my nickname is Rose. Though my mom calls me Rosie, but my dad always called me Anna. So, it's one of those things. My dad always called me Anna because my name's Rosanna because my dad wanted to name me Anna and my mom wanted to name me Rose. So they combined it into Rosanna. Compromise. Still can't handle your pin twist. Well, it looks like they want to use it sometime or another, so we'll see what we can do. So we want 2 3-inch pieces and 1 3.5-inch pieces and put the rest to the side. Well, we want what, 24.5 inches? I'm not even going to bother to cut it the other off. I'm just going to cut the 2 3-inch pieces and the 3.5-inch piece. So we want 3 right here. And these, I'm just going to do right on because they're such small little increments. Another 3 and a 3.5. So 3.5 is right here. This is one thing I like about some books is they're telling us the sizing of things. Some of them, like that one that we used the other day for the links to make the, we need to keep this one close by because this one is still in use. Where'd my 3.5? There it is. Okay. So there's the 2 3s, and you can see one of those is a little longer, and that's one thing about measuring them. That's one reason I usually put them together when I do them. This is our 3.5, so it says, I think we're wrapping with our 3 and our 3s, so we'll work with these. But first we need to, where's that Sharpie? There it is. It didn't ask for a Sharpie, but we need it because it says make a mark. So we want to measure and mark the center of the bundle at 2.5. So here's our bundle, and we want to go to 2.5 inches. So right here. And then it says, using the chart, decide how far up from this line you need to make your wrap. So if we go back to this chart that they're talking about, here it is, 21. If we want our ring to be of size 4 to 6, the total distance should be 1 1/8 inch, and your mark should be where you put your wire wrap should be 9/16 of an inch. If you want it 6 to 8, you should have 1 1/4 inches total, with your marks to be 5 to 8. An 8 to 10 size should be 11/16 on each side, with your total amount being 1 3/8. And if it's a 10 to 12, you want 3/4 of an inch on each side with 1.5 inch total. Now, I wear a size 10 on my ring finger and a 10.5 on my index finger. This is actually a size 10 ring, which I have sized up a little bit. And to do that, I put it on my ring mandrel and softly tapped all the way around the edges till it grew just a teeny touch. You don't want to grow a lot. So if you have a ring that is too small for you, and you have a ring mandrel, especially one of the steel ones, you can slide your ring down on your mandrel, take your nylon mallet, and tap, 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 tap until it starts to grow a little bit. You need to use your chasing hammer, but I try not to use my chasing hammer too much because it will start to, flatten your band. If it's a flat band, it's not a big deal. But see, this band is not a flat band, so I didn't want to do it that way. So anyway, I have a size 10, so I might want to go with that 3/4 inch. Of course, if I make it to sell, it doesn't matter, because if I'm selling it, unless I'm making it custom size, it's just going to go into my ring box at whatever it turns out to be. So now this is, so we want this to be about, and we want to use one of our half rounds. So we want about 3/4 of an inch because I'm going to make it bigger. So just in case I end up keeping it. So go here and here. And that should be 1.5. And it is. Okay. So now, back to the instructions. There's some really pretty rings they have in here. So anyway, first page instructions. So now that we've got that mark on, use one of the 3-inch pieces of half round wire to wrap from one of these side marks away from the center 4 times to show. 4 times to show. What do they mean to show? Trim just below the edge of the ring bundle. Use the other 3-inch half round to repeat this wrap on the other side. Okay, I missed a lot. I'm going to just catch up here quickly with everyone. Isn't that the truth with all our kids? So what we're going to do then is we're going to take this. I'm going to see, I just flattened it with my fingers. That's probably the significance of the tape, to be truthful with you. So there's my two 3-inch pieces. So I'm going to take this first 3-inch piece, and this is half round, so you need to look at it because you want the flat side to be towards your wire. And I'm going to now wrap this one. And now I want this to be at this line, and I'm going to bring this other side of my wire down soon, but not right this second. We'll wrap these two. What did it say? It said 3 or 4 times, right? I think it said 4, but I will check. Use one 3-inch half round to wrap from one of these side marks away from the center 4 times. Now I've got this one needs to be tightened just a hair's breadth. Now see, I tightened it too much, I think. I kinked my inner wires there. So let's loosen that back up. we want them to stay laying beside each other, not on top of each other. So still is too thick there. Okay, you're coming back off, and I will just make my last one with this side over here because this is trying to make this there we go. Now we've got actually I've got looks like I've got 5 there. Let's see what's on this side. 5. So we want to it said 4, so we probably want to take one of these off. But I'm not really that concerned. So I'm going to take my, it doesn't say to do this yet, but I'm going to take these and squish these down. And we're going to move this back because see it's way off its line. So right there. And then you want to, when you trim it, you want to trim it. It said close to the wire bundle, and I'm thinking it means right here where it's the edge is because that's the least likely place to get snagged on your finger, so to speak. So I'm going to bring this one back here when I trim it. Okay. Round squish. Now we'll go over to the other side. I don't have tape on it, so we're just going to have to make how I've got it. And we want the other 3-inch piece. And again, we want to make sure that we have the flat side on our wire bundle. Oop, come back here, you. Because half round, of course, is round on one side, but flat on the other side. So I'm going to bring this over here. Then we're going to take this 1, 2, 3, and I need to get these together. Let's see, we were doing 4, right? So I'm going to hold this tightly with my thumb now as I bring this last wrap around, and we'll push them together. I'm going to take my nylon jaw and squish these. We're going to have to cut these off now. So, come on, you over here. Trim you. Trim you. And now I'm going to squish it again in hopes to get it pretty even there. Okay, now we have our instructions all done. And we can turn over to the other side and see what the next page says. When I got mine, every once in a while they send you a deal thing, and I got my 3 sets of flush cutters, my pin twist, and these rubber clamps. They came as a set of 3 on a deal, because they send me these deals every once in a while. It says, get these flush cutters for the price of shipping. And then the next thing says, then when you go and say, yeah, I want those, then they'll say, do you want the full set of 3? If so, it will cost such and such an amount. And then after that, they then put in other offers. And so I get my clippers from them. Let's see. Well, these ones are not. These are from Soflex. But this heavy duty one that I use frequently is one of those complete the set ones. And as well as these little guys that have a deeper twist and they can go into tighter spots. These are the complete the set pieces. And this is the original one. And I like these. They're really nice clippers. And it does tell you right on here how much you can cut with them. Like it says, this one says max cut is 1.3 millimeter copper-based wire. The little one is max cut is 0.6 millimeter, and this one is 2.5. So I can cut my lot thicker wire with these. And anyway, so then when the deal goes through, they say, would you like to add this or that or, you know, other things to their order. Lately it's been DVDs for classes, and I haven't bothered to get any of that stuff. So anyway, here is where we're at right now. This side looks a heck of a lot better than this side, but oh well, that's the way it goes. So now we need to change pages and see what they want us to do now. Okay, so when making the wrap sets on either side of the center on a ring buttle, start them in opposite directions, one up and one down, to add strength to the ring base. Remove the tape and slightly fan the 5 wires on each side as shown in figure 2. This one right here. Can you guys see that? There we go. And then place, well, let's do that next step, because the next one we're going to be putting it on the mandrel. So we can take this baby off. And you can use tape, obviously, because that's what they're calling for. But see, this is what the clamp looks like. It's just rubber pads. And then this goes down to squish them together to hold your wires in place. And I just like that rather than the now see, I'm going to have to do something with these little wires because they are I think they might be a little ouchy, but we'll see. Anyway, it says fan the wires out on either side, starting on the outside and bringing the wires over. Now, see, obviously, if you're making a smaller size of ring, you'd have much longer remaining wires here. So. Okay, so we got it fanned out. Isn't that cute? Next step says to number 3 in figure 3. Place the center mark against your ring mandrel 2 sizes smaller than the desired finish size and press in each side. Wrap with fingers to form a U shape. The wires will interlace on the front. Grasp the wire ends and pull tightly. Holding the ring firmly in place, force it down on the mandrel until it is 2 sizes larger than the desired finish size. Okay, now we start at, excuse me, we start at 2 sizes smaller than the finished size. Bring it around, grasp them tightly, and holding the ring firmly in position, force it down the mandrel until it is 2 sizes larger than the desired finished size. Okay, that seems a bit much, but we'll see. So we want it to be about right here, I guess. Bring them around into a U shape, and they will go between each other. Okay. Now we want to Now we want to grasp the wire ends and pull tightly, holding the ring firmly in position. Force it down until it is 2 sizes larger. Seems a bit much, but so we want to pull our, this is going to be a little tricky. Okay, so we're pushing these through here and we want to pull them tight. Has everybody got one in between you? No, one is worked out. Okay, one. There's 2 in here, so we want one of you to go over here and one over here. Okay. Now are we got one between each one? Looks like it. Okay, so this is going back on here, and we want to hold these tightly and force it down to 2 inches, 2 sizes larger. Ooh, my wires are coming undone a little bit there. So up here, okay. Okay, 2 sizes larger. That would be about right here, I guess. Okay. Now what? I think we may go over our hour with this ring, guys. Yeah, a little bit, not too much. Okay. I knocked my book closed. All right, so step 4 is carefully remove the ring from the mandrel and using your flat nose pliers to flatten the interlace wires at their center. Okay. Hold still. Stay put, book. Where's my ruler? Sorry, I needed to stick something in there. It kept wanting to leave. Okay, so we're going to bring these together like so. And now we want to carefully take it off the mandrel. Take our flat nose pliers and flatten the interlaced wires at the center. So okay. So step 5 is using your flat nose pliers. Make a V set, an offset V at the center of the 3.5 inch of half round wire. Place the V you just made onto the center of the interlace wires and begin to wrap toward one side. Wrap twice to show, meaning you will see 2 complete wraps, and end midway up on the inside of the ring. Okay. So what we want to do is put you down for a second here. Take this piece and make a V Then we're going to place the V across our wires. And then we're going to, come on, hold on, wrap to one side, I think it said. Place the V just made onto the center of the interlaced wires and begin to wrap toward one side. Wrap twice to show, meaning you can see 2 complete wraps, and midway up on the inside of the ring, place the tip of the jaw of your chain nose pliers on the outside of the half round wire and bend the wire up toward the top of the ring, forming a platform to place your beads on. Oh, okay. So we've got 2 showing. This one should go inside, and we're not quite in the center, I don't think. So this goes back into the inside. And then this one lifts up and we put our beads on it. Place the tip on the outside half round, bend the wire up toward the top, forming a platform to put your beads on. Using the half round wire to string the 3 crystal rounds and continue wrapping toward the other side twice to show after the center of the beads. Okay, so we want to put one. Let's get some of it. Come on. Where's your little hole? There it is. Okay, now those go there. And then we wrap this other side. One. I'm not sure we're going to get 2 out of it, though. Nope. Looks like I should have put some more wire on this side because I didn't get 2. Only got 1. This has extra, probably enough. I could have maybe got the other. I could cut a new piece of wire. It's not like it's a lot. It's only 3.5 inches. Though I might cut 4 just to make sure I have enough. Hey, Dorothy. Yeah, it's still hanging on a little bit, but it's not bad. I think I'm going to cut a new piece of wire so that I can get the two rows that it wants here, because it wants our strand of beads and then 2 rows on two wires on either side. So I've got the 2 on the one side and I can make 1, but I can't make the other. I can't make the second. So I'm going to cut us another little piece of wire. And I actually may cut it 4 inches just to be on the safe side. Come back here. I'd rather have too much than not enough. And if I had got that a little better in place. I probably could have got all my wraps, but I didn't. So, c'est la vie, right? So let's, and I could probably just unwrap this and get it back where I want it, but I'm not going to bother trying to do that. We'll just unwrap it and take them off. It's not like it's really hard to do that either. Okay, there's my little sunstone still on this one. So we want to make, what did I just do with that? There it is. We want to make a V. Put it in the center. And I didn't make sure that that was going the right direction, and that was bad because I'm the wrong way. Yeah, we can fix that. I had the square side of my half round up rather than, so we want to put this on here. And take the one and wrap it twice. Push this back to the center because it's not in the center. I've got it off sides a little bit. Now we want to take this one here. Oh, come on, you. And we're going to lift it up. It says use your pliers. You don't have to use your pliers. This is soft enough wire. It'll bend really easily by hand. I'm going to cut these little sunstones loose off of this piece so we can put them on the other. Okay, you've definitely slipped off center. Center's over here. Now we want our 3 sunstones on here. You know, these instructions call for a specific size of wire. If you want to add a little bit to it, go for it to make you feel like you have a little more control over stuff because let's face it, which I just added 1/2 inch to this. If you are more comfortable with a little more wire, it's better to have a little more wire. So, there we go. Now push this. This one is still almost too short. See that? I'm going to pull them tight with my pliers here and tuck it underneath here. No tuck. No, I don't want to squish this too much, but I do need this to go over some. Get my then I'm going to take my other side here. See, I still have more wire down here underneath here, and I'm going to pull it tight too. So there's our little ring or little beads here, and that's pretty much in the center. Continue wrapping toward the other side twice to show so that they center into our spot here. So these are, this one looks a little crooked here, so I'm going to try and straighten it some. That's better. Okay, now we need to switch to our next page. Now we're going to use the pin twist or vise to twist each individual wire on one side of the center. Where are you going to tuck those bands down? Okay. I think I see what they're doing. Okay, so just one side we're going to use the pin twist on. Meow, come here, you. And put your sunstone up, Rose, so you don't lose them. And like I said, we're past our hour with this intricate little ring here. We're using 21 gauge square for the base wires and 21 gauge half round for our wrapping wires. So now we are going to, like I say, it wants us to take the pin twist and twist half of the wires from one side. So we're going to, I don't think we need the ruler anymore, so I'm going to put it in the book to help me keep it in place. Now we're going to get our pin twist. Some of my tools out of my way here. And we're going to get the wires from one side. Come on, you. Okay. So we'll put those into the pin twist. Now you put it in the top, push this little lever up, and then you're going to, because there's no place to hold this with pliers really, I'm just going to hold on to this while I twist this up with my hand. So I think that's good. So then we pull it back out, put the next one in. Now these go in much easier than the 18 because they're 20, and that's what this is actually built for. And we'll do it again with each of these little wires, like it says. Bing. Now the third. I was going to say, where's number 5? But I think they're sitting on top of each other right here. Yep, they are. I think this one is actually the outer one. Okay. So then we'll get this one on. Push the ring up and twist. This one feels like it's trying to twist over onto the other side a little bit, which it could be because the lock it in place, twist. And lastly, okay, we got these 5 twisted. Now let's see what it wants us to do after we twist our little beads or our rings, our wires around. Oh, did you? Cool. Okay, so next thing it says to do is looking at the ring on the side where it's obvious that the twisted wires will go down over a plain wire, use your fingers to carefully move all wires down in a wave shape. Repeat with the untwisted wires on the other side, like so. So this is going to be one of the trickier parts, because what we want to do is we want to take, stay put book, I don't want you coming down to see me right now. We want to take these and we're going to bring them around and down, and each one will come down with the other, like so. Now the other side is going to do the same, but boy, that wire's trying to come out. But it's going to go the opposite direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you could bend these all at the same time, I think, and it might even wave better. Who knows? But there we go. Now that we've got them doing that, okay, you guys need to wave a little bit more. You're not down all the way. So like so. You're a little too much, I think. Cool. Okay. So now that we've done that, what's our next step? Using a flat nose pliers, grasp all the wires on one side just above the ring's edge and bend as one over the edge so the wires lay on top of the edge. Okay. So stay put. The flat nose pliers on one side. Grab all the wires at once and bend just above your ring part. Come on, babies, wrap. Okay. Now the same on this. I'm not sure these are all wrapped down well, but we'll push them down a little more. Okay. Now this side. Okay. Trim these wires until they are 1/8 inch longer than the edge they are going over. Working with all wires on one side as though they were one, use your chain nose pliers to put a slight arch into them, giving them the direction of heading down inside the ring. I don't know about this one. So we want to trim all the wires down to 1/8 of an inch. How high is 1/8 of an inch? 1/8 of an inch. So an 1/8 is that little notch right there. So about that much. Now hopefully we're not going to trim these too much. Okay. Repeat on the opposite side. I may have cut a little bit too much off. We'll see here in just a second. Now, trim these wires. Working with all wires on one side as though they are one, use your chain nose pliers to put a slight arch into them, giving them the direction of heading down inside the ring. Okay. Now this is going to be easier said than done because we doesn't want to grab all of them at once. So, and it didn't grab these ones right here. So we're going to have to sort of do them sort of separately. Okay. An arch. Okay. Now the same on this side. Oops, that one didn't feel like it wanted to turn right. Let's see here what we got going on. That middle wire's out again. I'm going to have to trim it down closer to the edge, I think. Okay. So there we go. Though my twisted wires look like they could be a little more twisted than they are, but that's all right. Okay, now let's see what our next instruction is. Heading down inside the ring. Okay, sort of like they are. Now, using the flat nose pliers to tip these arched wire ends into the ring, and when positioned, crimp firmly into place. If you have difficulty moving all the wires at once, do them each individually. Okay, using the flat nose pliers to tip these arched wire ends into the ring, and when positioned, crimped firmly into place. Okay. So I'm thinking what they're telling us to do now is to take these wires and bring them over here and squish them so they're down inside. Easier said than done because they want to not do what I want them to do. And I think I may have one of these a little short. Stay put, book. You can't leave. We're not quite done. Because, let's see, it says crimp them tightly into place, which tells me it wants to be squished, but I don't want to have a lot of edges here right inside your ring. I think that would hurt. So, well, let's get the other one squished and see what it looks more like when we're done here. That one is way out different spot than the other one is. So we want to come on, go over the edge. This one's being difficult. interesting. I'm not sure I like the way these are falling here. I maybe should have left them a little bit longer so they'd go more towards the center of the interior here. Okay, now let's see what it says to do next. Place the ring onto the ring mandrel and use the mallet to gently hammer on the waves. The pounding will reshape the ring as well as crush any sharp spots. Check the size and use 14 inches of 20 gauge half round wire to wrap the shank as described in Ring Basics. Now it looks like it doesn't care if you do that or not, because one of these rings down here has no wrapping at the base, the other has wrapping down here. So what it's telling us to do is now to put this onto here. And we want to take our mallet. Oh, that's not my nylon one. That's another metal one. Where's my nylon one? Just a second. Huh. That's weird. Where's my nylon job? Why is my nylon mallet? Trying to take a dive off the table is where it is. Okay, so now it wants us to now this is supposed to get the sharp pieces out of the way. I'm not sure if I trust that, but we'll see here in just a second. Well, I'm still feeling some sharp pieces. Yep, when I pulled it off, I got snagged by something here. So back on you go, my little one. And now we're going to, now see, these ones look like they're pulling out some. So I think I could have left the wires a little bit longer. I am snagging right here. I can feel it. So something is not tucking quite right. So we'll go back on and hammer it a couple more times. Now I turned it the other direction because I can see that it's starting to get bigger on one side than the other side because of hammering just one side. Better, but it's still got some slightly sharp edges in there. I think, number one, I would cut my little wires a little bit longer so that they can bend a little better. And number two, I think I might twist the wave side a little more too. And there's a spot right here. I'm going to trim this little wire down just a hair's breadth. Carefully not to get anything but this little wire. Push those together some. The same problem over here. One of these is biting just a hair's breadth. Not sure which one it is, but I'm going to put this back on here and give it a couple of more hammers since I moved some wires around some. It is barely bigger than a size 10, so that would fit me. That's better. Oops. I may need it just a hair's breadth bigger for this finger. Now it does say to wrap the rest around the band, though the picture doesn't show that, and that is a sizing thing to do that. I could do that, but since I'm probably going to want to wear this ring maybe if I decide to keep it, I don't want it any smaller than it is. It's too small as is. See, just barely, but just a little bit too small. See how it fits on my little finger that I put that ring on. Way loose. And it needs to go this way because that's the way it's crowned. So I could get this a little bigger by putting it on my wire mandrel, like so, and continuing to tap and push until I got it that little bit more that I need it to be to fit me. See, it's about there right now, but just not quite. And one thing that they don't tell you in your books is that when you're making a ring, see how this band is pretty thin? See, it's right at just barely at a little bit more than a 10. But this one, which we just finished making, is deeper down here, but it doesn't fit as well. Doesn't want to go down on my finger as easily. And that's because it's got a much wider band. The wider the band, the bigger of size you need. So I'm not going to wrap the bottom here like it says to do, because in order to do that, I then would definitely not be able to wear this ring. It would be definitely too small. So if I decide to sell it, then I might wrap it but it is a cute ring. It is intricate to make. So if you want to make one like that, remember, I don't know if you can see inside here. See how I cut these? This one's a little longer than the rest. The others are curled right here at the base of the wires. And same with this side. And actually, those wires might be the better ones because they're facing right into the wire here, and they're not going over the top of it. Consequently, they're not making snaggy spots because they're bumped right up to the wire. And that might be better, in my opinion. But yeah, this is a really cute ring. I really like it. And we've been on an extra half hour, so I think we're going to What would I sell something like this for? The sunstones, even though they're tiny, sunstones are sort of rare, so those are 20 cents a piece for those beads, so that's 60 cents. And we used 2 feet each of the wire. Well, we didn't quite because I didn't take the extra wire to make the lower band because I don't need it. In fact, I'm probably going to hammer this a little bit more, see if I can get it just a bit bigger so it will fit on this finger here. See, it does go down below my knuckle, but not as much as I want it to. So I'm probably going to hammer it just a little bit more to get a little bit more sizing in there. And this one, the wire itself is 53 cents a foot. So we do $1.06, and the other wire is 58 cents a foot. So we do plus $1.16 plus 60 cents. That's $2.82. And if I did it to the cheaper way, which is times 4, that would be $12. This ring is not going for $12. It's much too intricate. Let's face it, took me an hour to make it. So if I used my $25 I used for my hour plus the cost of materials, we're looking at about $30. But I wouldn't want to charge that much, so I'd probably charge about 20. I'd probably break my amounts in half and charge about $20 for this ring. It could go for a lot more, obviously, because it did this is definitely more of a labor thing. So it would be like I said, it took us an hour to make this ring, and of course it's the first time making it, so I was having to follow the instructions a little more carefully than I normally would. So it might just take me an hour to do it all by myself, if I just threw it together for the first time. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be at least 20, maybe 25, because it is a lot of work to put that together. But would it fit you, Beth? That's the question. This is it's about a 10.5, close to an 11. But like I said, it's got a wide band, so you need that extra space. It as I showed you with this ring, it's about 10.25 as far as the size is concerned. And this one, as you can see, is already 10.5 at the wide spot, and it was a little bit tight, and it's still too tight. I'm going to need to thin it down some. And of course, I have to have shipping costs too, so that adds another about $6 on, 6, 7. But and I want to make sure I don't have any sharp edges in there before I sell it to anybody. Can you buy it? If you want to, sure. Like I said, $20 plus the shipping, which is about 6. And like I said, I want to make sure I don't have any sharp edges in here before I sell it to anybody. And that's why I keep running my finger through the inside like that. I can feel there's something right here still. So I think it's this particular one right here. So I think we got it. So, yeah, if you wanna buy it for $20 plus the shipping and handling costs, I can do that. Um, so it would be about 26, $27 with the shipping and stuff. So anyway, fun ring to make, very intricate, lots of time consuming. Whoops, banged my light. Good thing I didn't break it. Um, and so, yeah. So if you wanna buy it, Beth, yeah, I can, send you an invoice. But, yeah, I'm not feeling any really sharp edges anymore in there. There's a few little spots that feel a teeny bit rough, but I don't think they're gonna scratch you up. And that's always a concern when I'm making rings. I don't wanna have a sharp edge on anything. But I don't feel anything, so I think we're good. So there we go. I got glue on my fingers. I've been making hair barrettes, so I've got glue on my fingers from I use the E6000 industrial glue when I'm making hair barrettes, and I've been making a lot of them because that was the one thing I was low on. Well, other than a few hair sticks, for my show, which starts this weekend. So I've been trying to get those ready. So yeah, I will send you off. This is the ring we're wanting, of course. And let me know if there's something else we want to make next time. Now, see, here's my hair barrettes. Well, nope, these are the alligator clips. Um, see if you bought any of those flowers from Randy. This is one of them. I turned it into a poinsettia. It's the rest of my painted pieces that I didn't use. I was painting, painting, painting yesterday. Here is the other finished box of hair barrettes. So I will get get an invoice out to you for this ring, Beth, and all yours. Thank you. Did I make some Christmas hair combs? I did not. Um, I could. I have more of the poinsettia type flowers that I could paint and do a hair comb with those rather than they would look more or less like these, but they would be hair combs rather than alligator clips. But I haven't made them, but I can. Why, are you interested in some? Request for next week is hair barrettes. I can do that. Hair barrettes are not really difficult. The biggest part is designing them. But I definitely can make hair barrettes next week because let's face it, um, hair barrettes are actually one of the things I sell the most at my shows, so I then I always need to make more. And this is my last show of the year unless somebody asks me to do another one, which has happened in the past. It did happen last year. So, Beth's ring. And this is the other ring we made. This is the simple ring we made to start the day off, this little pearl one. So there's our two rings. Um, but yeah, I can make hair barrettes next week. I always need to have some, so I might as well. They did. That's very true, Beth. So I'll get you an invoice out for the ring, and I'll get it prepped and ready to go, Beth. Lately, the free gift I've been giving out is these. You can see what kind they are here, but they are jet black flowers. So for my beady pals, for anybody else, I give a free little tiny pair of earrings. But anyway, I will get an invoice to you, Beth. And we've been on for going on 2 hours now. It's an hour 40. So I am going to wow, I lost my connection there for a second, and it just came back. So I'll get you an invoice out for this, Beth, and this will go into my craft inventory. Hope this was fun, wasn't it? It was a pretty ring. I'm going to turn this up for a second. Like I say, Beth, I'll get you an invoice for the ring, especially if it will fit. So, and we're making hair barrettes next week, it sounds like. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks, Janice. So, yeah, this is my first time making this ring. I think it's really cool. The book shows a few more different kinds of rings here, which we could try again on a different day if you want. But we're going to make hair barrettes next week, it looks like. Because see, this one has like four different styles of rings in here. Here's the one we just made. And then there's these other 3 here. This book is called Wire Work, an illustrated guide to the art of wire wrapping by Dale Cougar Armstrong. I did get my hair tamed a little bit. It's still a little bit fly away, but not too bad. There is a section on bracelets in this book as well, Leslie. I did love this ring. Like I said, it's pretty labor intensive to make it. But this next ring, which is really pretty too, I was debating this one. It starts out the same. See this? It's got the same little wrapped part here at the bottom. So, but it looks like we're doing a lot more twists and turns in the top here. So I think it's really pretty. I'm really like, oh, here's another one. This one doesn't show the instructions, but it's pretty. I like it. I may have to try that one. But here is the chapter 3 is wire bracelets. So there's some really pretty ones of those in here as well. I do not have a bracelet mandrel, however, so that would be the trickiest thing is bracelet mandrel. But there's some really pretty bracelets in here as well. See this one? You just ordered the book, Beth? Oh, this one they've turned into a slave bracelet by hooking the ring and the bracelet together. So that is really trippy. Ooh, I like this. I may have to try this one. See this? Isn't this gorgeous? I may just have to try that one. Oh, but it's got lots of math pieces. You know, for a bracelet mandrel, I personally, if I get one, and I really think I need to because I do make bangles every once in a while, I would get the oval because let's face it, our wrists are oval. They're not round. They're oval. So I personally, if I got a bracelet mandrel, when I do, I should say, I'm gonna get a oval one. So this is one of the books that I was given by Coast Home, also known as Diana, and I think there's some really pretty pieces in there. So yeah, I'm going to be using a few more. Maybe even we'll do like one of those bracelets on one of our lives. But of course, we're going to be. I'm sorry to hear that, Janice. I love doing wire work myself. I think it's fun, and you get such wonderful results, like this ring that we're gonna sell that Beth wants that we just did. Here, I'll show you pretty close up here. It was fun to do it, but it's one of those things you gotta really pay attention to what it's telling you to do. I think I cut my wires a little bit shorter, though, since I've turned them and see they tuck inside, but you don't want them too pokey because then they're really going to be a mess. So, and they'd really hurt. So I think a simple turn, um, and just turning it like you would when you're doing a wire wrap is better because it just sits right there on the edge of the other wires like a little wire wrap that way. When you're doing your wire wrapping, like when you do a wire wrapped loop. So, and then you can tuck it right beside. So, file before bending the wires. That they didn't call for that, but that might be a thing to do because wires can get rather, how do I want to put it, bitey. But yeah, this is it, and this has pretty darn good instructions, I thought, for this book. The ring instructions were pretty good. I like them. But I'm going to let you guys all go. We've been here for close on to 2 hours now. So I may play with the ring a little bit more before I send it off to Beth to make sure I've got as many of our little sharp edges off as I can get off. But I think it turned out really cute. I like it. I may make me one. We'll see y'all later. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. Bye-bye. Never safe, Beth. Your wallet's never safe.